I like starting. We are live. It's Sunday evening. Hey, folks. It is what? October 21st, 2018. I'm Ben, and I'm hanging out with my friend Lewis, the Tone King. How you doing, my man?
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing this fine evening?
Everyone's doing well.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on.
As always, it's always fun to hang out with you and see what's up and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Never know what we're going to talk about. We always mention that off air. It's like, so what's the topic? I don't know. We'll just talk, see what happens. Allow the fine folks in the chat to ask away any questions. So if anyone does have a question, feel free to ask. Just going to do a quick rundown here. We got Soda Pop in the house. We have John Moronic, if I pronounce that right. I love some of the spellings on some of these names. Todd Flowers in the house. I'm sure you know Todd.
Of course, yeah.
Lando 27 Music, Absolute Mayhem, JJ's House of Jams, Brian Cote, Adam EVH, welcome one, welcome all, Frank C, Bobby Clipper, Guitar Girl.
A lot of familiar faces in the house.
Frank C, Terry's GG&G, JP Page 2. Yes. Awesome. Welcome one, welcome all. ET5150. Good to see you. Hey, the Tone King's in the chat. Check that out. Awesome. Speaking of which, we're doing this with... I'm going to make you a mod because you know what happens with mods and chats, and you know what to look for and what not to look for. So if you're ever hanging out in the chat...
Actually, it's interesting. When I had my live show Friday night, I got hit. Terry and I were doing a little moderation. Yes. And it was interesting. We caught it out of... because the chats sometimes go quick, and someone just hit us with some, how do we feel about a certain group of people managing the business? And we're like, what? Where did that come from?
Mm.
And luckily, it was the viewers that said, hey, guys, stop moderating, because we missed it, So the viewers, it's also nice because it, everyone that tunes in gets to help self-moderate. So if we miss it, they're starting calling us out like, guys, stop moderating, which worked out well. InTheBlues, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Shane.
Terry. Yeah, Terry, you and I had a treat moderating on Friday night, and thank you for that. I don't know if I thanked you, but...
Yeah, I watched the replay of that yesterday morning, and then I remember even last night, there was a brief instant, like 30-second instance when Steve was on, and all I said was, hey, Terry, go to work, or something like that.
Was there a troll in the comments?
Yeah. They didn't really have time to do much, so, Terry was on it.
Nice.
I say it's like playing Asteroids.
I should actually return the favor, and I don't know how to make you a moderator. I think I need to have a chat to do that. So next time I have my show, just remind me, and I'll get you in there as a moderator.
Oh, thank you.
InTheBlues in the house.
Yes, congrats on 100,000 subs. He did a retrospective earlier this eve. Unfortunately, I was doing Sunday dinner, so I missed it.
That's awesome. Congratulations, buddy. Well deserved.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm waiting for the day. I'm creeping. It's a slow creep. When you get to those high 80s, early 90s, it's you want it. I'll be honest with you. I really want the plaque.
Right.
Yes. It's like one of the few accomplishments you could actually get recognized by YouTube themselves.
Right.
But yeah.
Actually, if Sheen, do you want to jump in? Since I figured we might touch on some Guitcon stuff, and you were there, so let me know, and I can send you a link. Not knowing exactly what time it is where Shane is as well. Monday morning, I'm guessing. Thomas Santiago, Gussie Wells, good to see you guys. Absolute Mayhem.
So Ben, of all the stuff you saw at Guitcon, was there anything that jumped out? From a viewer being at the other side of the screen perspective, anything that you saw that you said, whoa, that's awesome?
Other than Steve drinks a lot of coffee, it seems, because every time Mike was live, I'd see Steve in the background grabbing a coffee. Either that or it was just happened to be the same time each day. Let me think. What? Yeah. Those Joyo amps that Shane and Dr. Rick were playing through. Yeah. I was surprised at the variety of tones. Like a lot of those amps, I expect them to do one thing and do it okay.
Yep.
All right. Give me a sec there, Shane. That he's got a sore throat, but he can jump in for a bit.
So Joyo had this thing there. It was called I don't want to say Beat Buddy because that's the drum machine, but it was something like the Beat Buddy, like the Practice Buddy. I'm on their website right now. Let me see if I could find it. Street Series High Gain. I don't see it on their website, but I tested it right then and there. Basically, you Bluetooth from your phone into this little box, and the little box has little speakers. And so you could Bluetooth to this little practice box, and then you plug into the practice box, and you have like gain and reverb or gain and delay, whatever it is. And it was really cool because it was like a training buddy, or not a Beat Buddy, but Practice Buddy, I think, something like that. That was really cool. And it's like $50. It's like a little $50 thing. Nice. And it's funny because I did the video about, what do you travel with? And I had the iPad and the apps and like all the cables. And I'm like, geez, well, you don't need it. You just need this little box. Put it in the front of your gig bag. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun hanging out with the Joyo guys.
They everyone seem like fun.
Yeah, they are. So they're sending me one of those. And I had covered the Bantam series last year. But there's an amp on their website called, I don't know how to pronounce this, the Mjolnir, Mjolnir. And I asked if I could give that a go, but basically it's like the mother of those little Bantam series amps.
Okay.
Like the big brother. It's got effects loop. It's 2-channel. It's pretty awesome. And I think it means like Thor's hammer or something like that.
Interesting.
But yeah, they were everyone was fun to hang out with, but that's some pretty cool stuff going on there.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. And then of course the jams of the evenings and hanging out with a couple of crazy Canucks and Pete Thorne and Phil X walking around.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And I heard Phil X, it was very doubtful until the last minute, I guess, if he was even going to be there.
Well, I think there was a communication thing.
Okay.
Because once he got all the details, he was like all in. I think had something to do with like the date was communicated incorrectly or something along those lines. I didn't get the full story, but I think it was like a miscommunication on the date, something like that. But yeah, I'm glad he went because he's just, Phil X is awesome, right?
ET5150, he says, my chorus pedal review was very clear and I'm not as clear tonight. Yeah, that was pre-recorded. This is live. I don't have the best bandwidth, but I am working on it. Hey, we have Steve Anderson.
It actually looks clearer now than it did before when we were talking.
I noticed that too, yeah, because you were a little pixelated, but I assumed it was just me. But yeah, comes and goes. I guess Dad's off YouTube upstairs.
There you go.
We got Mitch Heyman and Steve Anderson, Frank C., Groovy Ghoulie, Zach Thom. All regulars jumping in. We got 36 people watching. Very cool. So yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, those Harley Bentons, man, they have a guitar for just about everybody at every price point, it seems.
Yeah, they really outdid themselves this year with their new lineup, and I think they spent a lot of attention on the neck, like the stainless steel frets. Huge difference. The nice thing about stainless steel frets is once you have them right, you're kind of good to go because they don't wear quite like nickel frets, you know, because the metal is harder than the strings themselves, so they stay in really good shape.
Exactly.
And then of course
Pete Hickson and Quentin James all just jumped in. Man, everyone's coming in threes. Jason Wade.
Wow. And then of course the controversial finish, which if anyone watched my video and you read the comments, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But you know, I asked a few people, even on Steve's show last night, Steve from Boston, because you know, I felt bad. You know, Pete Thorne was irked by it, and I like Pete a lot, so I felt bad about that. So, you know, I just asked some folks their opinions, and you know, I think what it came down to was a couple of factors. And by the way, do you mind if we talk about that for a minute?
Oh, no, absolutely. Go ahead.
I think one factor is, you know, like Pete said himself, you know, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, that old expression. And there's a lot of truth to that. They wouldn't have imitated it if it, you know, it's the compliment. The other thing is, I don't think someone that's going to buy a Harley Benton is not the guy that's not going to, you know, it's not the same person who's going to save up for the actual Sir. Yeah, you have to bear in mind a brand like Sir and Friedman, like these high-end, high-quality brands, they're going to sell to who they're going to sell to, which is good. They have their niche market. But like I said on Steve's show yesterday, you know, you take like a Zach Wilde, the fans have alternatives. They could buy the Gibson or the Epiphone. But you don't have that with brands like Friedman and Sir. You only have the high end. So, you know, for fans, it's actually nice that, you know, people could buy something that is inspired by, you know, the artist thing. So I think it's a compliment. I don't think, you know, Harley Benton was trolling Pete Thorne. I think it was genuinely a compliment. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for Pete Thorne. I have a lot of respect for the brand. So I'm just glad everyone was able to see eye to eye in the end. And even Pete weighed in on the comment, which was really cool. You know, he's a good guy. Yeah. So I feel like everybody's cool with it at this point, which is good because nobody wants to be caught in drama, you know.
Isn't that the truth?
So I think it turned out okay, which I'm happy about, because I'd like to actually try those guitars and show them on my channel. But if there was, you know, if like Pete wasn't happy and there was like tremendous pushback and drama, then of course nobody wants to get involved in that. But I think it's okay. You know?
Yeah, and I can understand Pete declining to play that guitar.
Yeah, I could understand that as well.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay, man. Listen, not everybody has to like everything out there, right? We're all allowed to have our preferences, and I think it was the shock was the biggest thing, you know, was, hey, wait a second, why did someone copy my guitar? But you know, it is what it is. He was a champ about it, you know.
Yeah. I'm just going to give a quick shout out here. We got David Ennis. Apparently, we have Shane jumping in. We've got Eric from EVH and Gear TV. We got Dave Stafford in the house. Good to see all of you.
Shane, what's up, dude?
Howdy, howdy. How are you, mate?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good to speak to you again. Good to meet you in person as well. And I'm getting sick now. I can't believe it. So apologies for my croaky throat.
It's all good, man. Yeah, we had a lot of fun, man.
It was a Guitcon version of Anthrax, I'm guessing.
No, it was the we had a guy on the plane on the way home who coughed for 14 hours on one of the stretches. So, yeah, it just goes straight through the air conditioner and straight into your lungs.
You know, the airline should probably put the, you know, hand out. If someone's coughing, is it rude to hand out the mask?
Well, I was going to ask him if they could just like dump him off the plane, but I thought, you know, it was probably going a little too far. Yeah, there's a few people that sort of, you know, told him to cover his mouth at least, you know, like it was just, people have no respect. It's just disgusting, you know, like being in a metal tube for 21 hours all up, but
and someone's
14, yeah, just non-stop every 45 seconds, just it's like, oh.
I think they should, you know, because I don't think the airlines wants to hurt anyone's feelings, especially all the negative press the airlines have been receiving over the past few years.
Yeah,
somebody is genuinely like coughing and it sounds like bronchitis. It's like, give that person a mask. I think that should be okay without hurting feelings, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in today's day and age.
Yeah. You know, I just read an article, not to get political, but I read an article about like the antibiotics in beef and how that is being passed on to people, and it's making antibiotics less susceptible, which could create an epidemic where if you do have a virus, the antibiotics won't work. So think about that. And then you have like the airplane scenario. We need medicine to work, right? So
yeah,
if you're sick, put a mask on, or don't travel. You know, there is a, I think
that would be even better.
Yeah, I think there is a thing in like the carriage, the right of carriage or whatever it's called, that, you know, if the airline thinks someone isn't fit to travel, they will, you know, like rebook them or something like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, not to mention, if you're traveling any distance, you're taking a virus from one part of the world and taking it to another where nobody has an immune system to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was
that's kind of how these
that was the Ebola
viruses
problem,
happen.
right? That was the Ebola problem. They didn't want people traveling. They were trying to quarantine it. It's a huge problem, you know.
Yeah. Hey, we have Nocturnal Butterfly joining us. Welcome.
I don't know how much of this I missed either, guys. I went up the street and did a few things, and I got back and I was like, hey, you were live. So hopefully
what time is it by you right now, Shane?
11:20 a.m.
Nice.
on Monday.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah. So it was my internal body clock the first 2 days I came home. I didn't know what was going on. It was crazy. It's a crazy time. It hits me harder. I work out from Europe to back to Australia than the US for whatever reason. I think because I get back in the daytime here when I land from the US, it's usually like I get in the morning, but I got in like late at night, which didn't really help anything because it's dark. Your body doesn't know what's going on. So,
sure.
Yeah. It was how'd you pull up getting home, man? Did it hit you at all, or?
Well, you know, because Germany is 6 hours ahead, that just meant I went. The jet lag was harder going. Coming home is easier because I just go to bed a little earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
9 o'clock is like 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3 a.m. So I just go to bed at 9, and you know, you wake up a little later. But it's worse the other way. This coming home is usually okay. You just get a little sleepy or a little earlier, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So did you like Guitcon though? Was it fun?
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was great. It was good just hanging out with everybody, and I love that video we shot together too, mate. It was great. Just everyone pulling their sound, and it was good. It was good. I looking back, I wish we sort of had done more stuff together. You know, it was one of those situations where if it ever comes up again, I'll make sure I'm a little more prepared. You know, some of the lists of videos were just on the fly that particular day. So
I said the same thing yesterday. My biggest regret walking away from Guitcon was, you know, it's just I wish I would have done more videos with more people type of thing, right? But you know, you get, first of all, everybody gets there. Monday, Tuesday are tough because jet lag in the reverse direction. Yeah. Everyone's struggling. And by the time you get into Friday, everyone was packing up. So you really have Wednesday, Thursday to get, you know, that week is really, you know, 2 days of work.
Yeah. Tuesday, I was a mess. I went back to the hotel and went to bed and went for a walk because the whole ground was shaking. Like it was really bad. And the next day, Rick didn't sleep at all. So he was pretty much out of action. So you're right. Those like Wednesday, Thursday were the ones that we did like the majority of our stuff. But you did a lot of great, those lick lesson things are great, man. I want to take that Phil X one. That's a killer.
Yeah. I have about 5 or 6 more that I didn't release yet.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm just trying to trickle it out because, you know, otherwise people get fatigued. Just, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think last year it was much more everybody all at once because everybody was so excited about this new event that we're just getting blasted for about 2 to 3 weeks every day, you know, 7 days a week. Yeah. Whereas it seems like now a lot of people are going to be trickling out, a couple of videos a week, 1 a week, 2 a week, 3 a week. And so, which is cool because that's going to take us right through to NAMM, essentially.
Yep. So Shane, are you going to NAMM?
No way. It'd be a $3,500 experience that I can't justify. But
are you going to go to Guitcon again?
Oh, look, if it's on again and we get invited, if I can get Rick to come along again, I'll be there, mate. It was great having a friend around and, you know, someone that I know from here who's, you know, obviously contributed to the channel. If we can do that again, I'd go again. Absolutely. It was a good vibe, man. It was a really good vibe. It was
good, great people. You know, everyone had fun. You know.
Well, my question is, Shane, how did it feel playing an RG?
Terrible.
Because I know you like a thick neck, and I was thinking.
No, look, I tell you, it's pros. It was easy to play. It felt comfortable. I didn't necessarily like the neck shape at all, but it was easy enough to play. The thing I hated I realize how much I dislike, and this will probably get, I'll get trolled for this now, but I hate, what do they call the Floyd Rose blues setup that was on that one? Because the way I play, I do a lot of double stops and double note bends. And every time I went to bend a string, just because I'm used to playing heavy strings too. I play 11s, right? 11 to 50s, 11 to 49s, whatever they are. Every time I go to bend two strings, one would go out severely, right? And I'm not used to that. So I had to sort of accommodate the way I played to the guitar. But overall, it was good. If it didn't have the 80s neon red and it didn't have a Floyd Rose, and it was set up with a hardtail, maybe with some thicker strings, I'd be loving it. But I actually, that was the only
block the trim.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find the Floyd. I've never had a guitar with that before, so for me, it's a little confusing and a little daunting. I didn't know how to tune it and stuff. But there's another guitar that I got to play, which was another Ibanez. They were the only two lefties there. It was like a jazz one that I used on the Tone Kings.
I hope
video.
I hope you sent over your feedback of more lefties next time.
I did. Yeah, I sent it. I just sent it through earlier. So,
because he reads all that. They like a lot of the things they did this year were in response to the feedback last year. So that's a big one for you, especially at the live jams.
Oh, I would have loved to have played with the guys, or at least led a couple of songs with a few of the other dudes. Yeah, I mean, I got back. I played last night and had a great set live, and I was, because I didn't get a chance to play that Friday. So, it was great. So the other guitar I got to play was like an old school blues jazz kind of guitar, which was really beautiful actually. So they're the only two that they featured in all of the videos.
I'm surprised there wasn't a famous lefty in the building.
There's nothing. There was only one, which was
like you walked down
or something
downstairs and nothing on the wall that was left.
No, they checked their inventory. Two guys checked that. One had a look at the computers. One had a look at the actual stock, and there was none.
Oh, I didn't know you went that far where they were checking.
Yeah, we did. Don't worry. That last day, I was like, maybe I can restring one so I can play something. And there wasn't really a guitar where we could flip it over without it being a big pain. So it doesn't matter. I'm used to this sort of stuff, and I wasn't unhappy about anything. Like, I was happy for Rick that he got to play all night, and he got to play with a lot of these guys, and some of them were just great players, man. That Michael Wagner, I think his name is. Wagner or Wagner, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he's the German guy that was there, man. What awesome player, just mind-blowing.
I think there was a lot of surprises. I was talking last night on Steve from Boston's channel, and when Michael Bradley got up and did Kiss from Pink.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, whoa. And he came in late because they started the song while he was tuning the guitar for some odd reason. So I was like, oh, I'm thinking poor guy getting a, slow start, but as soon as he came in, man, he owned it. It was like,
yeah, he's a great player.
A lot of talent there, which was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone's sort of different in their style too. There wasn't too many people that kind of sounded the same. Like everyone was just. I really liked that. That's what I loved about our video. All four of us sounded completely different, in the video, and I thought that's what it's all about. I like that.
Dude, you bailed me out because I remember when I was doing the riff and you're like, "Oh, there's a boost button, right?" You pointed it out. I'm like, "Oh, I hit it." I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Maybe you might want a little bit more in there, a little bit more gain. So
that was a good video. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good experience. And I
just stopping in, going to eat some dinner. Hey Jay, good to see you. I was hanging out with him on Friday night over in Johnny Bean's show.
Average.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I was saying to TK there that Joyo amp demo you and Rick did. I was blown away at how the variety of tones you could get out of those things.
Yeah, they were really
considering usually expect them to do one thing and that's it. But man, especially that one Rick was playing through, like it cleaned up really nice.
Yeah,
had some great grit to it. And the one you were playing through, I'm like, wow, okay, so he's got an Ibanez through a super high gain Mesa type sound. I was like, fish out of water much, Shane? But man,
I love it.
You did it.
I did a review of my friend's Studio 22 Mesa Boogie. It's a little 12-inch combo 22-watt amp, and I love that thing. It's arguably the best humbucker amp, combo amp tone I've ever heard. He pulls a great sound, and this really reminds me of the Studio 22. Maybe not so much with it doesn't clean up at all, unless you're on the clean channel. It does, but it doesn't clean up on the dirty channel at all. But
right.
Yeah, I love it. I've actually got it in my little production room in the other room there at the moment. He was nice enough to let me take it home. So
nice.
Yeah, I scored a nice little amp out. I love it. Like I've actually had a chance to test the Blue Jay, I think was the Fender one, and the Vox one. I reckon these two, the Marshall one and the Boogie one, kill them tone wise. Right. It's just unreal. So yeah, it's just different. I think maybe I'm starting to like the Tone King special. Just crank up the dirt and we're ready to rock.
Yeah, spend too much time with TK and Steve and.
It's good to mix up the sounds, man. I always like
to get it. You know, I was playing nothing but Tellys and Les Pauls until I started hanging out with a bunch of EVH heads last fall, and now I have a Kramer. So
oh wow, cool. No, I took out my Marshall and ES335 last night. I haven't played my 335 for a while, and it was awesome. You know, like I just forgot how much I love that sound. And
right.
Yeah, I just go through phases. You know, you kind of like one thing one week, and I have a lot of respect for people who only like one guitar sound, but that's not me. Because I probably record as well. I like to have different things for different like sounds. If I'm getting an influence from someone who plays a Les Paul, I like to have that kind of vibe, or a Strat tone for something else. And some guitars are better for rhythm than others, in my opinion, too, for different sounds. So yeah, I just go through these weird phases with gain amounts and how much, how big an amp I need, and how clean I want to play or how dirty. It's good fun.
Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes you want to do some nice, mellow, clean stuff, and other times you just want to crank it and rock out.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, no. So overall, yeah, I had a good time. I'm still suffering a bit today, but this jet lag thing's a killer.
Well, what's the time difference between Australia and Germany?
A lot. I think it's like
9 hours.
Yeah, it would easily be 9 hours. I was lucky. Like Rick and I had 5 days afterwards where we just traveled. So I didn't come back. I didn't leave straight away. So we had a good chance to sort of go around Munich and all that kind of stuff. And
Munich is great. I've been to Munich many times.
Awesome, huh?
The food, the atmosphere, the shopping. It's one of the cities in Europe I like the most. It's right up there with London, Italian. Paris. Yeah, it's great.
It was different, you know. Like because I live in a city that would probably surprise a lot of people. It's really tall, you know. It's like Chicago in a way, in terms of building height and all that kind of stuff. But I expected. I'm just used to cities being tall instead of being like short buildings and just sprawling out like that. It was great, man. I really liked the vibe of the city, and it's got a really relaxed sort of feel, and it's hard to park there, but otherwise it you know, I didn't feel aggressive on the roads or anything. It was awesome. Like I really enjoyed it.
I want to say hey to Caesar Old Guitar, and American Devil just jumped in as well. Welcome, guys. 45 people watching. We have a question. What guitars on everybody's mind this week for the panel? How about you, Lewis? Anything on your mind? You dreaming about that V, perhaps?
Yeah, it's funny. I keep.
Oh, we lost him.
Uh-oh.
Did you kick him?
Okay. I'm going to pose the question to you, Shane.
Yeah, well, I tell you what. Rick and I went to this shop in Munich. It was it's called MJ Guitars. I think it's owned by one of the lead guitar players out of this stadium rock band from the 80s. And the name of the band just sort of...
I just got kicked off there. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's all right.
We figured you just didn't want to answer the question.
No. Yeah, so that V guitar, I am, I'm hoping I get it soon. But yeah, that's what's on my mind for sure.
Yeah, nice. Look great, man. I shot that walk around video with you as well, so that'll be featured in like a little bit of a vlog, not a vlog video, but something, you know, I put together a little event video or something like that. So it looked great, man. Yeah. Have you told people about it, like the specs? Did you post something on YouTube? I can't.
I don't.
I don't want to give it away if you
really. No, we could talk about it. I don't know
cool.
if I did a specific video on it, but basically it's flamed. The front and the back are both flamed, right? The neck is what's really special because it's a Purple Heart fretboard with flamed maple block inlays, which is just awesome, right? And then I'm doing the Phil-X Arcane pickups because I like the tone out of that Phil-X guitar so much. I went with the Arcane. And like you said earlier, Shane, it's just nice to get different tones. Yeah. And the thing I think I like most about the Phil-X is I don't have a guitar that sounds quite like that. And, I think a lot has to do with the pickups in there. So I wanted to get those in the V guitar also.
Yeah, cool.
So I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Is your Phil-X one behind you, is it? Sorry, or?
Yeah, this is the Phil-X right over here.
Oh, yeah, cool. Because Rick bought the dual P90 one.
Yeah, he got the dual P90, which was good. This is actually that's under the clear code, by the way, too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hans Peter and Phil-X signed it at last year's Guitcon. But, for a guitar that looks so simple, I'm telling you, man, this guitar is awesome.
Man, it sounded killer when you were using it in the video too. I was really surprised how fat it sounded. It was great.
And I'm doing the same tuners. These are the ratio tuners.
Mm-hmm.
It'll have ratio tuners. It'll have basically it's got Phil-X, stuff going on with the pickups, but I'll have it's kind of, it's be very similar to what's on, this guitar here. It's funny? We were talking about the Harley Benton copies. This is like an SG copy, but nobody complained. You know what I mean?
I was going to say on your Flying V, instead of having you should get TK printed on the pickup covers.
Well, no, it's actually to be inlaid in the last fret and lit up.
Yeah. Oh, you did say that.
Look out.
Right.
So Framus will be lit up here and TK will be lit up there.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
You know why we did that? Because you can.
Yeah.
Because you can.
Yeah. I was really surprised by sort of how great those guitars were. I made it pretty clear. I'd never seen them in person before. I thought maybe, people were saying favorable things because they were there. There's a bit of that sort of, you feel there might be that obligation to say nice things, but the guitars are really stunning.
Last year with Guitcon, everyone's, Framus. And I'm like, I have a parlor size acoustic here. They were an entry level guitar in Canada in the 70s. So that's the only. All I could think of was, are they another Dane Electro where they've, improved and brought the name back? I didn't know what was going on. And then
whole different level. They're like, as good as sort of, I don't know what else to compare them to. Kind of like PRS quality, I guess, along those lines. Absolutely. Something like that. And I tell you what, Rick's the biggest guitar snob I've ever met in my life, right? He won't buy anything that's not a custom shop guitar. He doesn't own any non-custom shop Fender guitars. He doesn't own any non-high-end PRS guitars, and he bought one. I was like, wow. So yeah, that tells you
that guitar that he bought is gorgeous.
Yeah, he sees it in a lot of videos. He's like, oh, that guy's playing my guitar. Oh, there it is again. Because he bought the one off the floor. So yeah.
And what's nice also is Framus as a participant, not the host of the event, but as a participant, they didn't have 1,000 guitars there. They just had a few, which was kind of,
I would have liked to have seen more guitars there from other brands. I know that's probably their competition to some extent, but I reckon like maybe, PRS were there, maybe bring a couple of more American companies in or even other European companies, especially with the pedals too. I made a comment in my feedback, the best pedals in the world, in my opinion, are coming out of Europe, Greece, France. And I mean, there's a lot of great stuff made everywhere in the world, but the stuff that I've personally, I've tried hundreds of pedals in the last 12 months and I've only got Greek and French pedals on my board minus the some of the boss effects, you know, like the tuner and that. So they just make great stuff. Like I would like to. I think it would be cool for them to sort of bring in some more obscure stuff as well as the main sort of stream stuff. And I made a comment on that, but you know, whether or not they do it or whether these smaller companies can afford to be there or however it works, I don't know. But I think that would be cool. Like we're in Europe, maybe showcase a bit more of what's in that area.
Sure.
Or, you know, I think that would be cool.
It's going to give some shout outs here. A64 T-Bird is here. And we got Johnny Bean joining us. Hey, Johnny. Thanks again for having me on the other night. We're on opposite TK there. TK went on at about midnight. We went on about 12:30 due to some technical difficulties, getting one of the guys jumping in.
Are we live tonight, Lewis, were you?
No,
it was 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago, I went live, and yesterday we were live on Steve's channel. And tonight on your 3 live shows. Right.
Nice.
Well, that's why when I texted you this morning, I was like, you have gone live 2 nights in a row. I totally get it if you don't want to.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man.
I missed that live show. I was sleeping at weird times of the day. So I'll rewatch it. I'll watch it tonight.
So
you think
in here as well? You think a Framus is in your future, Shane?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You think a Framus is in your future?
Yeah, look, possibly. I would like to. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I don't like to buy stuff that I haven't played, but not being able to play a lefty anywhere was something that I'm hesitant to spend money on something that if I can't at least pick it up. But I love Rick's guitar. You know, that dual P90 one's great, and the neck felt great. So I'm sure it's a really nice guitar to play. But you know, next year I said to them, if there's a few lefties, I'll buy one that's there. One that I can pick up and play, and I know that I like, because I'm pretty fussy with. I'm not that fussy with specs, but I know what I love, and I know what will drive me nuts if it's not quite right. And this isn't based on their quality; it's based on, you know, neck shape and fret size and things that I need to make sure that I'm happy with. Otherwise, I won't play it. You know, and I don't like having guitars around for me that I don't play, and I got 3 of them at the moment I'm not using, which I'm going to flip on eBay. But yeah, there's I could absolutely buy one, and I'd love to get a V, man. I told you in person, you know, like I was eyeballing the Gibson 2019 ones whenever they turn up here in 3 years. But yeah,
I could totally see you playing a Gibson V, Shane.
I had one. I actually had one for a while, but yeah, just back then it wasn't quite right, the one that I had for what I like. The neck was too thin, and there was a few things about it I didn't like, but I could definitely get into one like Lewis's, well, without the scalloped frets. Obviously, that's a bit too rock and roll for me, mate. But yeah, it looked good. It looked really good.
And until you play one,
yeah,
I think maybe you'd like it. I'm telling you, I never knew until I played the Inve, and after that, I was like, I wanted another guitar that had it. You know, that's why I figured.
Well, on that guitar too, man. That's one you usually rip on as well. That guitar, that Strat. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, Luke, I'll tell this to everybody publicly. You are way too hard on your own playing. You play great, man. You made me smile every time you rock out, mate. You did it. You got the feel for it. So yeah, I just thought I'd let you know you play great. So
I will second that too. Having watched you for as long as I have, TK, I've seen, not that you were ever a bad player, but my God, have you been taking lessons the last 6 months or a year or so?
No, I wish I was.
Maybe it's smoother. I don't know what it is, but man, you wail. Love it.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
We did that whole video in one take, right? Like there was no cuts. The video we all shot, and that's, you know, there's a lot of times where I'm shooting at home, I'll redo stuff 3 or 4 times because and you just did it. We all did it in one take that day. I was like, oh, well, that was easy, cool, you know, like awesome, and it sounded fine. Like your tone was great, yeah, and other stuff I heard you play too. I was like, I've said that a few times I've commented on some of your videos. Like you tend to sort of give yourself a hard time sometimes about your playing.
I think sometimes I get a hard time.
Yeah.
You know, probably the style of music that I like, there's some really talented players out there. So maybe if you stack rank me with the shredders of the world, I'm probably low on the stack rank, which is probably where some of it comes from. But I really do appreciate the vote of confidence. So thank you. Thank you both. Really, it means a lot.
No worries, man. No, it was great. Like I just lit up once you started rocking out on that video. I was just like, oh, this is cool. And I looked over at the guys, and they're all like, yeah, like the Rick and Michael were just like rocking out in the other side of the room. It was huge.
Awesome.
And
Well,
I don't know if it's TK, you show your age and certain riffs you'll play in videos, but I find I do that 10-second repeat, back again. I do that on a lot of your vids because I was like, what was that you just did? That's a tasty little lick. Where'd you find that one from the Sunset Strip? It's just like, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm happy. Yeah. Thank you. That's
I tune in for a gear review. I end up getting a guitar lesson. Why not?
Nice.
And then you end up buying a bottle of Snapple the next week or whatever. Not Snapple. Sorry, what is it? What's the stuff you drink, Lewis? I don't have it in Australia.
I had a Snapple.
Snapple, yeah.
This was a Snapple right here.
There we go.
Yep. So, how many videos did you get from the show, Shane?
I think in terms of like regular sort of videos, I did. I think about. What do we got here? 4, 8, 12, maybe 15 normal videos. And some were just like jamming, and others were like the walk around one we did, which probably I'm tipping around 17 all up, including the little vlog videos I did with Rick at the hotel and stuff. But yeah, there's probably around close to 15 sort of regular videos from the event at least. And we shot a lot in one. I think it was Thursday. We just went downstairs and took over that little amp room, and we shot all our Harley Benton guitars and
nice
PRS guitars. We just grabbed everything and we went down there, and so we did like 7 or 8 videos in that one day, which was pretty cool. But yeah, we missed a few of the bookings the first day because we got there and we forgot we were booked in right in that morning. And we got talking to people, and I think I was doing, I can't remember what I was doing that morning, actually, to be honest, but we missed the first couple of bookings we had. So we made up for it just by, doing other stuff.
Now, here's a question for both of you guys. So, like, I hear a lot about the camaraderie there as much as, the gear. When you're talking with your fellow YouTubers, are you finding you're talking more gear, or are you talking your channel stuff?
Both. It just depends on the person. Like, I don't even know if Lewis and I really spoke about YouTube at all. Like, we might have talked about editing a little bit, but it was more like, good to see you, and let's go for a walk and check out what's downstairs and stuff. It wasn't really like,
let's have dinner together. It was more just very personal, right?
Yeah. And then there were guys that I found there was a little group of people that sort of kept to themselves there as well. There was I'm a bit like that as well. I guess I'm not maybe the most social guy. And then they were really, looking at their subs all the time and all that kind of stuff. But there was, everyone looked at it differently. I don't even recall talking to Steve from Boston about any YouTube stuff other than cameras. We were talking about tech stuff and just other things like that as well. So it just depends. I got in a conversation about analytics with a few of the guys because I like to really look at that stuff, and that opened up conversations with guys I either who had no idea who I was, or I didn't know who they were, or whatever. So there was I don't know. It was just a bit of everything, I guess. I don't really feel like I spoke to just people about, hey, I like what you do and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't really, I don't know. I just didn't really feel like there was a lot of gear talk, at least not for me, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. Same thing here. I mean, the one night, Dave Wallum and I had a whole talk about religion and life after death and just like crazy way out there conversation. Right. And Steve from Boston, I'm just usually talking nonsense with him because him and I have the same demented sense of humor where we make dumb jokes to each other. Yeah, rarely is it like a geek fest about, YouTube or even guitars. It's more just I think two people figure out like the common ground. Shane, I don't even remember what we spoke about, but I remember enjoying your company.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dr. Rick, like I remember having a talk with Dr. Rick about his custom guitars, right?
Yeah.
It just seemed like the conversation I had with everybody was just about something random. Definitely there was no theme to the conversation. It was just whatever I or they wanted to talk about is what we spoke about, which was great. Yes. I mean, I think the best part of Guitcon is actually what's happening between videos. It's just that casual interaction. It's like being in school. Like I said, it's like the Breakfast Club. It's all the stuff that happens in between that is, I think, the most memorable,
One thing I noticed too was there's like an appreciation of whoever's playing on the floor as well. Like I remember a couple of guys just started jamming or playing and I was like, oh, wow, this is great. So people would walk over and have a listen. And there was like a sort of mutual respect for everybody's sort of, guitar playing in a way too. That was kind of cool. It wasn't like anyone was like obviously I can't shred, but there was guys that could just rip it up, and I was like, wow, have a listen to this. This guy's or girl is rocking. Like is it Yassi? Is that how you pronounce her name? Yeah. The German girl. Man, she was a shred machine with those heavy riffs. I was like, holy crap! Like this is so great, man.
She's so tiny.
Yes. It was great to sort of see so many people with different styles, and then you get those sort of common ground styles where people kind of, you can hear you've listened to some of the same stuff, and like I didn't really talk shop too much with gear. I mean, it was just more about other stuff, and whatever that was at the time is what it was. Yeah, I can't recall a lot of it either, to be honest, but.
Yeah, I'd imagine most of the gear talk would be like, hey, did you shoot a video on this yet? Oh, yeah. So what did you think of it? I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was probably some of that sort of stuff too. I don't know. I remember just walking around, looking in the windows of the studios, seeing people collaborating and doing different types of stuff. And it was good. And I think one of the, it's funny. There was a guy there, Kafir, who's a monster YouTuber, incredible. 500,000 subscribers, had literally no idea who he was. I never ran into his channel until about 2 months ago, where a friend of mine from Israel as well said, oh, who's going to this event? And she said, is Kafir going? And I'm like, I don't even know who that is. I'll check the list. So we had a mutual friend, which kind of like was cool in a way. Like I felt like I knew him all of a sudden as well. Like it was this weird thing, you got a mutual friend on the other side of the world. It's kind of crazy. So, like there were, I guess, people that, and Michael from Guitar Gate, what a lovely guy, like he's another guy I just felt like I knew for years, and I only just met him. So same with Kafir. I mean, Lewis and I have known each other through YouTube, but we hadn't met, and it felt like we'd met, like a whole lot of times. That's how it was for me. So, but yeah, it was great, I guess, just to find people you've never met actually in person, and just felt like you've known him for a long time. Same with Andy, like as soon as he would stand behind me and he goes, hey, how you doing? Like it was weird because we've obviously both seen a lot of our videos over the years, and you just sort of get this
it's weird
feeling like you know each other.
When I saw that Andy was there, at first I was like, why is Andy there? And I thought, well, hasn't Andy really demoed more gear than everybody put together, it seems? So it kind of made sense.
And then, I don't know how many videos he did with Pro Guitar Shop, but it would have been quite a lot. I think he was doing 2 or 3 a week, or 3 or 4 a week.
Is that channel still up, Pro Guitar Shop? Are those videos?
It's been, the owner of Pro Guitar Shop passed away a year or two ago, and then Reverb bought it. So, and he was doing some stuff for Reverb, but man, the content went way down, like as far as volume goes. And then, and largely I almost forgot about Andy in many ways, until he brings out a video and I'm like, oh, right, Andy, right. I'm used to seeing
new channel. He's got his own new channel as well now, just called Andy Demos.
Yes, when you sat down with him, I sucked to him.
Yeah, he's like just a lovely guy. And it's funny because you expected that as well. Like he seemed like a nice guy. He seemed like the kind of guy, if you met him, you'd go, "Oh, how cool is this guy?" And
Right.
yeah, he's just a lovely guy. Great player too. He killed it at the Blues Jam. I really thought he did well. And yeah, it was good getting some of these guys out of the home studio or whatever and up on the stage. It was great to watch, man. And Lewis as well, mate. He's rocking out some Metallica. That was nice. Cool. So,
that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yes, we have Todd Flowers. It's his birthday today.
Oh, cool.
Happy birthday, Todd.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I forgot about that. I wished him a happy birthday this morning. I apparently forgot in the last 12 hours.
I think it was, like you said, it was one of the things that I really enjoyed was having learned about different channels, like the girl, Yessie, is that her name?
Yeah, I think it looks like Jessie, but it's Yassi. I think you pronounce it or something, Yassi or something. Yeah.
When I was doing my research before we went, she was on the list. I was like, whoa, like her videos are so intense. Her playing is so
yeah,
and articulate. I was blown away by her videos. I really enjoyed her, having met her, and Kafir also. I'd put him in the same list because I wasn't that familiar, because he does a lot of covers, not gear reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And man, just really awesome. And both of them, like, so, I mean, you know what? This probably goes for everyone there. So friendly, so nice, so humble.
Yeah.
Just, it was nice, not just me, meeting people like you, Shane, because I, like you said, I knew you, so I felt like I've known you for a long time when we finally met in person, but getting to learn about other channels and just some of the talent out there it was just nice. It was a nice combination of, something old, something new, that type of thing. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of talent there, and everyone's got their own style to videos and all that sort of stuff as well. And it was overall the people were great.
Yeah.
Kevin Belton, welcome. Says, did anyone meet Sean Daniels?
Yeah, Sean was there with Guitar Goddess, right?
That sounds about right.
Let me just double check. I'm terrible with names. Damn. Oh, yeah, Sean from Florida. Yeah, okay. I didn't know his last name. Yeah, all right.
No, he's from California.
No, he lives in Sarasota, I think he said.
I think Sarasota, California.
Oh, was it Oh, I thought he said Sarasota, Florida.
Oh.
Sorry, my mistake. You know what? I didn't see Sean until the second last day. I don't know where he was. Sorry?
He does a lot of videos with Guitar Goddess. I think they've done videos, a lot of videos together. All right.
Yeah. It was funny because I didn't see him up until I think the second last Thursday. And then I was like, somehow this guy, Sean, Rick said, "Oh, Sean's getting a lift." I was like, "Who?" I didn't even meet him until Thursday. So, I got to have a chat with him in the car. And, I didn't realize. Yeah, he's another guy I don't think I've run across or come across online. I might have seen maybe a couple of his videos in recommendations or something over the years, but he was one of those guys. His channel's huge. It's just funny how. Sorry?
Yeah, he does a lot of good lesson stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and some of the guys in the chat are saying that he's out of Florida, in fact.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was because I had a chat to him about I go to Jerry's Lefty Guitars in Sarasota once every couple of years. And I'm pretty he was from California originally or something, but he had a great tan, and I said, "Man, where are you from? California?" And he goes, "No, he did. So it was Sarasota, Florida. That's right."
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I was misunderstood. I thought he was from California.
He looks like a California kind of guy. I don't think he's got that look.
Hey,
the suntan and the.
Can I ask an off-topic question? Any of you guys 4K cameras?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you use 4K cameras?
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm using an HD 1080p Logitech.
Got it.
You mean for YouTube videos, or you mean for streaming?
No, YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever my iPhone is, and I shoot in the highest I can.
Got it. And Shane, what 4K camera do you use?
I had a Panasonic GH5, which was the one that I had at the event. I got one like Steve's, the Panasonic G85. I've got another Panasonic called the FZ2500, and a Sony.
What's the difference between the GH5 and the G85?
About $1,000.
And do they both do the same?
Yeah, basically the GH5 has more features that you'll never use. That's what it comes down to. I thought I needed the GH5, and it does the thing that it does over the G85. It shoots 4K at 60 frames a second if you live in the US. So you get 60p, so you get twice the frame rate. It does have better slow motion capabilities and all this kind of stuff, and 2 SD card slots and a lot of other things. But you find when you're starting to, even on a good quality, like a high-end Mac, if you're shooting or trying to edit 60p 4K footage or 10-bit, which is the next level of color. So all video that's shot on 99% of consumer cameras is 8-bit, but Panasonic can shoot 10, so you're getting 4 times the wow. Basically like the color density or color. You can kind of enhance the color and contrast more without it sort of looking like crap. And but what they don't tell you with that is most computers really struggle to do anything with those files, and that's what I learned. So I filmed in 10-bit. I'm like, oh, here we go. I dumped it into Final Cut on a new Mac, and it ran like crap. So yeah, I went back to 4K 25, which is what we shoot here. It's in the US, it's 30, but and that's fine. So I'm using none of the high-end functionality on the GH5, other than sometimes I'll shoot with 2 SD cards at the same time. So in case I ever like one fails, I've got the backup on another one. But yeah, I did a video on this, man. I meant to send it to you. You did ask me about it, and I totally forgot. So I'll dig it up and I'll shoot the link now.
I think if I want to start shooting 4K outside of a GoPro, the G85 will be adequate.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you like the look of my videos and you like the look of Steve's, that's the same camera. I went with his recommendation on that. On that, I bought the GH5 first. I actually bought one that had a fixed lens, which was awesome. So it's basically the same thing, but it's got a lens you can't take on and off.
The G85 has a lens you can't take off?
No, it was another one called the FZ2500. It's like a all-in-one sort of camera. Yeah, I'll send you this. I just put this up a little while ago. So just take off that time code at the end. For some reason, it's come up with 690 seconds. Just watch it from, and that'll show you what I'm using right now.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
But the G85 is awesome. It is a really solid camera. The GH5 is great, but it's overkill.
How do you think it compares to the X820? Is it better than
it kills it? Yeah, and I bought 2 of those based on your recommendation, and they're great cameras, but it's not even close.
Really?
It's not even close. The functionality of the DSLRs isn't as good as the X820s. So you're getting like mic preamps, you're getting like good autofocus, you're getting a lot of stuff. When you get into the DSLRs and that sort of stuff, you find like the cameras there's always trade-offs for picture quality. It's a really stunning like picture, but you don't get as good at autofocus, or you get these limitations on certain cameras. So I studied this for months before I bought anything. And I actually bought 2 Sony 4K camcorders, which are great, right? They're point and shoot, much like the X820s. But I found they had a look about them that wasn't quite as professional looking, even as the X820 in a way. The color science was a little bit off on them and a few other things. I'm probably boring everybody now, but like there were things about it that it didn't match other cameras very well, and it did its own thing extremely well. But I reckon the Panasonic ones are the best value for what you get. You know, especially if you're shooting in a room where you're in the same spot, you can hit manual focus, touch the screen on where you want it to stay in focus, and that's it. You don't have to think about it again. And the picture quality is great.
Nice. Wow. And I just want to say we got David Nesdall reporting in. He was at EVH Con today, which was at Joe Suma's music store up in Connecticut. Lots of guys were showing off their EVH gear and EVH replica stuff. I saw some photos, really, really cool. And I guess they had a Van Halen tribute band there where you could get up and play along with them as well.
Awesome.
Absolute Mayhem says buying a high-end camera and not investing in a good editing PC. It's like buying a Ferrari when you live on a dirt road. The funny thing is, though, like some of the camera tech moves so fast. There's like 1 year there'll be 4K 25 is the new thing, and then it's 4K 50p or 60p or whatever. Then there's cameras that can shoot 120 frames a second or 180, and you know then they go to 10-bit. So the software kind of has to catch up with the hardware sometimes. So the cameras are really capable, and you know I got a relatively, I can't show you because I'm using the web camera, but I got a relatively new Mac here, and it's not because it's a Mac, it's just because the software, it's just a new format that they have to develop, like not encoders, but they have to do something that allows the computer to kind of read the file really well. And sometimes these 10-bit files, unless you've got like a iMac Pro or a 10 grand server style PC, you're going to have a lot of trouble running it. A lot of people can't invest $10,000 into a computer, including myself. So I find just for my workflow, there's not that much, and picture quality wise, I don't find there's that much difference in the image unless you really have to fix something that's not right.
How's the G7 compared to the 85?
Don't buy it.
How come?
I bought one. I hated it. There's no headphone jack. There's no mic input. And the worst thing about it is, and this is something that I experienced on the XA20. You know, if you record for a certain length of time, the files split, and you have to kind of bundle them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the G85 doesn't do that. So if you put an SDXC card in there and let it record for 40 minutes, you get one 40-minute file.
Really?
Yeah. And you don't get that with the G7. And Steve had some huge problems, I heard, with focus with the G7. I took it back after 3 days. I couldn't handle it. I sucked it up, and I got the GH5, and I was like, oh, this is so much better. And so then I realized I should have just got the G85.
So you use the G85 today?
I'm sorry, say that again?
So you use the G85 today?
Yeah, so I got three primary cameras. I got the GH5 and the G85. Either one of those two are like my front camera or side camera. I usually use the GH5 as my front one because it's got and this is just a little nerdy thing, it's got a full-sized HDMI output on it, which means the cable that I plug into my reference monitor that I view on, it's more stable than a micro HDMI cable. And I've got a longer cable, so I tend to use that as my main camera. But I use my other one, the G85, as well, because there's no difference in picture quality. So it's more about like this weird sort of intricacies of a setup that I've learned. I just leave my GH5 as my primary, and the G85 is always my secondary camera, which it looks beautiful. You couldn't tell the difference between them.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, I could highly recommend it. But if you do buy one, make sure you get a power adapter for it. They don't come with them. You got to keep recharging batteries. So you can get them on eBay. They're like $20. It's a great investment.
What about the lens? What lens do you use with that?
So I got a few, but the one that I like to use with it for side view is a 25mm lens.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a f1.7. It means you can blur out the background in its entirety almost, and you get this really sharp thing in focus. But you got to have the camera a fair way back to get that sort of look, because it's not a wide angle lens, 25mm. But my main I got two lenses I use on any regular shots, like just for I've got a 14-42 and a 12-60. The 12-60 is probably the one to go for. And it's what they call a kit lens, right? So it doesn't cost much and it works great. Yeah, 12-60. And that's all Panasonic stuff. I just went with, I just kept it all consistent, because when you're shooting multiple cameras, I had two Panasonics and a Sony, and I couldn't get them to look right. Mm. No one would care, right? But I care. I was like, they got a whole match. So, yeah, anyway. I went with Panasonic all up. So The FZ 2500 is kind of like an all-in-one camera that does the same thing, but it's got a fixed lens. But I'd go for the G85 with a 12 to 60, just as a starter. If you need a different look, you could change lenses. But that would do everything.
Good feedback.
If you didn't like it, I'll buy it off you.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm a bit of a tech nerd now, man. I love that stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
We got a question from Jason Wade in the chat. Has any of us heard the new Ace Frehley album that came out on Friday? I myself, I've heard 3 songs from it so far. I dig it. It's Ace Frehley all the way. Have either of you guys heard any of it?
No, but I'd like to. I did see the ad for, maybe it was in one of the guitar magazines that they had a full page ad on it, but I didn't hear it yet. I'd like to though.
Yeah, it's some of his best stuff I've heard in years. I'm really digging it.
Yeah, cool.
Some of the stuff, let's see, 2 songs were co-written with Gene Simmons, and
so there was a little reunion with that, huh?
Yeah,
that's good.
Oh yeah.
I always get bummed when bands just don't get along. You know, you take like the Guns N' Roses story where they made some of the best music in the 80s, and then all of a sudden these guys aren't talking to each other. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
You know what probably is? I mean, I don't know a lot about some of these band politics, but I know like when Billy Corgan was writing a lot of the songs for Smashing Pumpkins, the record label said to him, and this is what he said on Joe Rogan podcast, was something like, they said to keep the band together long term that he should co-sign everybody up as songwriters, even though he was writing all the music. And he said, not a chance. And that he ended up making so much more money than the rest of the band. Yeah. And there's a lot of this sort of, I don't want to call it, I don't even know what to call it, but there's this politics of drama and stuff. Yeah, that's exactly the right word. Yeah, where someone's making more money than someone else, and someone probably doesn't feel as appreciated or as part of it.
Exactly.
Well, I'm
reading a biography on the band, the Tragically Hip, Canadian band, and they were saying that I think it was after their second album, they made a decision that even though like 2 guys were writing the majority of the material, that they were going to start crediting the whole band, because that's the same thing they said, because they didn't want, if the album took off, they didn't want half the band showing up in limos and the other half showing up in vans.
Yeah.
And it will get in the way of stuff, right? Your petty little bickering with your bandmate turns into something else because you're going to throw money into it or something.
I don't even know how to comment because I've never been in that situation, but who knows?
Well, you never had a multi-million-dollar record deal? Come on, mate.
Exactly. I mean, we could speculate all day long, but until you're in that position, I would think that if the person that wrote the song wanted to get credit for the song that they wrote, I understand that. But like an employer, if you come up with an idea, like let's say you have a job and you work for Acme Corporation, right? If you come up with an idea, it belongs to Acme Corporation, not you, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're part of a band and write a song, it should be the band's song.
Yeah, I kind of feel a little bit like that as well, because I've done 5 original albums, right? And I credit everybody who played the parts. But the funny thing is, like, I write all the parts. Like, I come up with the songs, and I usually track them or come up with the ideas. And then there's 2 ways of working. Sometimes I'll get together with the guys and I say, hey, this is the song. And then the drum and the bass player will give it a different feel, which is way better than what I anticipated. So they should be almost credited in that situation as a songwriter, even though it's technically not writing the lyrics, they're writing parts. So I think there's a weird thing between looking at people. I think songwriting, people think, oh, well, he wrote this song and the lyrics, but there's parts to songs that are iconic, like I look at even a song like Sultans of Swing, and people go, oh, it's the great guitar song. But have you ever listened to the drums? The hi-hats have their own part in that song that is so yeah, it wouldn't be the same without with those exact players or any of these bands, you know, Toto or whoever.
The only exception to that, and again, total speculation, I've never been in that position, is the quote unquote work for hire. Right? Like if I'm paying you, Shane, if I'm paying you a salary or a fee to do something, then that was like paying the light guy to light something up, right?
Yeah,
I could
totally
say that you were on it, but instead of owning, you know, instead of you having equity in the song, you were paid a fee. Therefore, you're exempt from the equity that may come from the success of the song. So I think one of those, you're either in it together or you do this work for hire where it's outlined up front that you're getting a fee in return for your services.
Yeah, that's how a lot of these Nashville guys work. You know, they'll turn up to sessions and get paid whatever amount of money to do something, and then that's it. You know, and that makes sense for at least the songwriters. You're just paying them as a contractor, and yeah, that's it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But how bands like Guns N' Roses turn out in the end where they're not even talking to each other is like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Just seems crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy old world, man. It's always something to do with money in the end, I would assume, or drugs.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Or money or drugs. Yeah. A64 said, which drugs, TTK? I'm not sure what he's referring to, but
the good ones?
Yeah, the good ones, I guess. But yeah, you're right. Drugs, money, you know, love, right? When they hey, my wife's gonna be the band manager syndrome.
Yeah,
you know, that could certainly
okay, your wife can be manager because my wife's gonna head up merch and yeah.
That was like Final Tap, right? Money, drugs, and ego. There you go. I think everyone agrees. Money, drugs, and ego.
Jamal says, look at Ginger Baker. He didn't get the money Jack Bruce did from Cream, even though he wrote a lot of the arrangements. Yeah, it's just the way it's crazy how it works like that, I guess.
Well, look at like that Nirvana cover. I don't know the full details, but the baby that was in the cover, right, chasing the dollar bill, whatever it was. Apparently, the woman, the mother, was paid a fee for that, whatever, $100, $1,000. But now that record has been like multi-platinum, the baby as an adult wanted more money, and I think they sued the band. And it's one of those. This was like an arrangement that you know. Sometimes when there's wild success, people want a different arrangement after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I say to that? Stiff. Something, you know, like too bad. It's you got paid to do what you got paid to do, and that's it. They signed, you know. I would be. You shouldn't be giving him anything, and he's just funny because he's almost like, what is he, 20-something years old now, 30 or something? Yeah, it's crazy. I remember hearing about that, something like that, where the baby in Nirvana, on that Nirvana cover is like.
Maybe the baby said I was too young to negotiate the deal myself.
Yeah, exactly.
All bets are off.
I was just going to say, guys, my throat's killing me, and I'm going to start coughing, I reckon, pretty soon.
I was going to say, I was looking at, we're thinking going an hour or so anyway. So, we did pretty good here. So
you guys can keep it going if you want. I'm just starting to feel it a bit now, so...
Actually, I'm going to wrap as well. Join my family before it gets too late. But I want to, Shane, it was great seeing you. And Ben, I want to thank you for having, me and Shane. It's always fun hanging with friends. So this was great. Yeah,
very much so. Anytime, guys, I always have a blast. Both you guys talk gear and talk about all kinds of stuff that, chat doesn't normally hear, even, like stuff like, say, like cameras and stuff like that, because
I go on these rants about cameras. I love that stuff. I love cameras now as much as guitars.
We see new people putting out content every day. So I think every little bit helps, and it's a lot easier coming for someone like yourselves, as opposed to, I've got the answer. I'm like, yeah, I just use my phone.
You know what?
If anyone is interested in that too, like, not to plug my own video, but I get a lot of questions about camera gear. Just type in my camera setup InTheBlues into the search; it'll come straight up. It's a recent video, so you'll find it straight away.
But by the way, Ben, don't ever think it's just my phone. Kafir, the Israeli dude, Guitcon, he has 500,000 subscribers. His videos have millions of views. You know what he uses? His phone.
His phone?
His phone.
Awesome.
And I was talking to him about this. I you know, it's funny. I usually geek. I don't geek out over gear so much because I feel like I know everything about gear. But it's the stuff like I was making a joke, so don't troll me on that. But it's like, what are you doing behind the scenes? That's what always intrigues me the most. That's why I was like, what camera is everyone using at Guitcon? You know, that type of thing. And when Kafir told me, it's like, yeah, he tried all these things, but he likes the phone the best. I'm like, I'm blown away. I'm like, wow, so don't think just a phone. I mean, there are people getting millions of views with just a phone, you know.
True. You know, that walk around video I did with Rick when we were out in the woods, that was all shot on my iPhone 6 and it came up looking great. I was really impressed. It had lens flares and everything. I was like, man, these are pretty good.
I dug that video because that looks like right around here. Like, honestly, if you walk 10 minutes into the woods, it looks the exact same. You know, same species of trees, same elevation changes. It was just like, wow, okay, so Germany looks a lot like Canada. So,
I'll tell you that area, Marknerkirchen, I think it's called, and Bad Elster, where the hotel, just gorgeous. Even the air felt fresh to breathe. It just so nice.
Yeah, in the mornings was just amazing. Like you kind of wakes you up. You're like, oh, this is good.
Nice. Yeah. All right, guys. If you just hang the line, I want to thank both of you for coming on. Definitely. Always a treat. I thank each and every one of the folks in the chat tonight. You guys had some great questions and comments. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and ring that bell so you're notified whenever I put out some content. We've got some links down below to some cool channels, including both of these guys are down below.
Oh, cool.
And
thanks, buddy.
If anybody is around tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. in the UK, we're going to have China guitar skeptic Mike coming on.
Oh, cool.
Probably discuss a little more Guitcon. We'll probably talk some Asian-built guitars and who knows what else. So, and that'll be happening, like I say, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, 8 p.m. in the UK. And I hope to see each and every one of you back tomorrow. And as I always like to say, hold those doors open. Let that guy in ahead of you in traffic. Do good things, and good things will happen to you because karma is real, folks. So peace to one and all. And as 2K says, one of these, rock on. Cheers, folks.